are falling. It's twilight time. Welcome to Nerds Chatting Together at last at twilight time. Movie, TV, comic chat. Thanks for tuning in.
Welcome everybody to the Nerds Chatting podcast. My name is Nate.
No. Cut it. We need a little bit more energy in this room, Nathan.
It wasn't low of energy. It was sultry and gentle and easing you in with
It feels
love.
like
It's not an ASMR podcast, Nathan. So you need to start this again. This is just,
All right.
just your first and last warning.
that was
Ben,
like a jazz type of opening. Like, nice.
Yeah, it was.
Welcome everybody.
Yeah, and I promise you that James and I won't reference this later, so you have to leave it in. Shall I start again?
Yes, please.
Welcome everybody to the Nerds Chatting podcast. My name is Nate. Again, because I just did the opening again, Ben will have to leave this edit in. And with me this evening are my two very good friends, Ben and JB. How you doing, lads?
I'm good.
The finger. Oh, yeah.
I'm good. Thank you, Nathan. How are you? Are you all right? Bit tired, are we, Nathan? Bit tired? How are you, JB? Don't care about Nathan. How are you, JB? You all right? Good?
Yeah, I'm
good?
all right. Yeah, I'm good. Thank you very much. Lovely, delightful, sprightly.
So we are the Nerds Chatting. We chat all things nerdy, TV shows, movies, comic books, and other stuff sometimes. But for the last 8 weeks, we have been watching a show that has taken the world by storm, and we thought we'd spend the entire podcast giving it a good old review.
What are you going to say then? Giving it a good old review. Yes,
Ooh,
very
nice.
Yeah, and so obviously we're talking about WandaVision. So the Disney Plus show that is part of the MCU. It is the 24th MCU property. Is that right?
Ooh, probably.
I'm going to say yes because there's absolutely no way to check.
Absolutely, yeah. It's a more or less a direct sequel to Endgame.
Sure, okay, yeah.
And for anyone who doesn't know, I mean, everybody knows. It is the story of Wanda Maximoff and her husband Vision and the hijinks they get up to post Endgame.
Should we just announce right now, full spoiler warning? If you haven't seen WandaVision and you are interested in watching WandaVision, we are going to spoil it on this podcast if you haven't seen it. So
yeah, good show.
Go and watch it. Go and watch it because this is not a non-spoiler half of a podcast, and then we go into full spoilers later on. This is full spoilers now.
So we should probably give some context to our opinions. I want to come to both of you with what you thought of it, like a sort of fresh take on the whole thing, and then we'll break it down. But context, Ben, you've been watching this with your eldest daughter. No, middle daughter. No, your daughter.
Who's my middle child? Yes.
I knew I'd get there eventually. I just kept saying words like oldest, youngest, child, daughter, son. Your brother.
I've been watching it with my 11-year-old daughter and my wife. It turned into our regular Friday night viewing, and it was really nice actually. It felt quite old-fashioned in and of itself, being like a regular Friday night. We'd settle down and sit down and get some snacks and get some drinks and lights off and curtains closed, little twins in bed, and we'd put on WandaVision, and it was brilliant. It was really, really nice to have that thing that we all sort of gathered around to just watch the latest episode. It was really good for that.
Ben, what snacks did you have? Just out of curiosity, did you keep the snacks the same through the 8 weeks?
Oh, well, I would have a keto branded snack, whereas Grace and Claire would have I don't know, maybe some Maltesers or the odd bag of popcorn.
Sure, maybe a packet of Frazzles?
No, we don't have Frazzles in this house.
Oh my God!
For anyone wondering what a Frazzle is, it's like a bacon flavored crisp.
Or even a crisp. Yeah. It's a wheat snack of some sort.
Oh my goodness, what are you talking about? It's not wheat crunchies, mate.
And James, you've just been watching this yourself, and I've been
Yeah,
watching it with
just
Becca.
on my Todd. Yeah.
Yeah,
Wife
Uh,
wife saw the first one, was like that. What are you watching? Looks weird. I'm out.
yeah. It's been like people at work have been talking about it. It's one of those sort of water cooler type shows. It's not quite Game of Thrones, but it's kind of breached the sort of the zeitgeist, the culture. People are talking about it.
Yes.
The lady in the coffee shop, who James and I sometimes get coffee from when we're in the office, said that it must be a boy thing because my husband loves that. I'm a nerd, but I can't stand it. But he loves it. Was that what she said? Something like
I
that.
think something along those lines, Nate. Yeah, but you've got the essence of what she was saying. Yeah, absolutely, 100%.
Yeah. So what do we think about it? What is our snappy opinion? Quick fire, snappy. Ben, what did you think?
When it was good, it
Good.
was
It's a
some
good
of the
opinion.
best.
Yep. Thanks. Yep. James, what
Okay.
did you think of it?
I thought it was okay.
Go on, Ben. I'm
Ooh.
sorry. I was being mean.
I thought. Okay, I beg your pardon. Sorry, I thought you were genuinely wanted me to be snappier. I think when it
I was
when
just
it was
being mean,
good.
that's all.
Well, standard. When it was good for the third time, I'm saying, it was as good as the MCU could get, and then other times I found it to be slightly unfulfilling, if that's the right words for me to use. And I kind of want to expand upon that, but I'll get to that later. There you go.
Yeah. And James, I think your opinion is very similar to Ben's there, I would say.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
I think so. It was yeah. I don't want to get too in depth, but I did get excited because I watched oh, what's it called? Marvel Legends, the thing that's on Disney Plus that gives you a little bit of a, you know, oh, you haven't seen any of the other MCU movies. What we'll do is we'll condense it into 7 minutes of just the two characters, and I mean, you definitely get a flavour. I mean, and
Yeah.
I actually really like it. I really like them, and I've done the same for the Eagle and the Autumnal Soldier as well. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Good. So the first thing we've got in here is the plot to talk about. So Ben, do you want to talk us through the plot a little bit? What actually happened in this show?
Have I got to do one of those quick fire plot things, or am I
Nah,
just
lay
going
off.
through?
I'll let you off.
Okay. So we join Wanda and the Vision living in 1950s American suburbia, getting up to hijinks because they can't remember that what an event marked on the calendar is for, and turns out it's for Vision's boss and Vision's wife coming over for dinner. That's episode 1, and then it sort of progresses through there. It moves up through the years. So episode 2 is the 60s. Episode 3 is the 70s, and some twins are born. Wanda and Vision's children, Tommy and oh gosh, why have I forgotten his name?
Speed. Tommy and Speed.
Tommy and Speed. No, I've forgotten his name. What's
Come
going
on,
on here?
look at your notes,
I am.
Ben.
I'm looking at my notes. Why can't I remember his name? This is so
Billy.
embarrassing.
It's Billy.
Billy. Gosh, head palm. Yes. However, I think for me, once it gets into episode 4 and you start to see a little bit of the backstory about what's happening, Jimmy Woo turns up and Monica Rambeau turns up, and you see Sword and you see Darcy Lewis turn up as well, and you get to understand what's happening, and there's a little bit of understanding why it's being broadcast as like television stuff that's the same alpha waves or whatever it is that was made from the Big Bang, same as the Infinity Stones, and that's what's broadcasting the signal out. And then, as it then, I thought episode 4 was like, oh my god, everything's sort of coming together and I get it. And then when it went back to moving back through the decades, it sort of slowed back down for me again, and I was like, oh, come on, get to explaining what's going on. Anyway, turns out that Wanda has created a perfect, ideal family life for herself and her memories of Vision, which is the part of the Soul Stone that lives inside of her. And she's also taken over this entire town full of people. She's mind controlling them all. The next door neighbor, Agnes, is actually the ancient witch Agatha Harkness, who was attracted to all the magic being cast. She turns up. She wants to know what's going on. She wants all this magic. And then it turns into a great big witch fight. Yay!
Burn her at the stake. She's a witch.
That's a good summary.
I don't know. I think I rambled a bit in the middle, but yeah, I think it sort of, I think it went in low. I think if it had gone, if the TV show had started with one episode and that first episode was what we had and we didn't get anything else straight away, I think people would have gone, well, this is weird. I'm not watching any more of this. Switched off, never gone back to it. But because we got 2 episodes and the second episode moved us up through time, people were like, oh, what's going on here? Nathan.
Well, I was just going to say, James, that was pretty much your experience, wasn't it? You watched the first one or first 2 episodes,
Yeah.
and it was what, maybe 4 weeks in, and you were like, I'm not sure. I need to kind of catch up, because you watched them and you were like, oh,
Yeah,
not sure what this is.
absolutely. I think it was particularly peculiar to start off with, and you just kind of like, if it was, I think, is it meant to be set like 3 weeks after Endgame or something? Is that right? So you're kind of like,
Yeah.
what's going on? We all know that Vision's dead, or he died twice. Did he die twice? Yeah, he did. Yeah, he died twice. And you're just like, kind of, oh, okay. I mean, I liked the play on the US sitcoms, but it just goes to show how much comedy has moved on, because I found the comedy in the first couple of episodes really quite tedious. And the only good thing about it were the adverts, really, and they were quite, which I thought were quite good. But it got tedious, and then all of a sudden, yeah, things started happening, which I was like, oh, this has got more interesting. This is showing a little bit of background information, almost like a classic origin story, condensed from what we would normally get on in a cinema of an hour 30 to maybe an hour 50 into about 15 minutes. And I like that. I like that a lot. So yeah, it was like an engine on a winter morning on a car. You got to start it up and warm it up. Once it got warm and was ticking along, happy days. But it just took a little bit too long to warm up for me.
See, I quite liked the first couple of episodes. I think I probably quite liked them because I had some idea of where it was going from some of like the trailers and stuff. So I kind of, like you say, Ben, like, because it jumped through time in 2 episodes, I was kind of like, oh, this is intriguing. But then it did sort of seem a bit slow, and then there was a real sweet spot where it must have been the 70s one where Monica is that the one where she's expelled?
Yes, that's the one just after Wanda gives birth. That's episode
3.
3, I think. Yeah.
It is.
Which is the episode in which Monica gets her powers?
That I think is the when she goes back into the hex.
In the 90s? Episode 6?
I think it's 6 or 7 possibly. Yeah.
Okay. So
maybe.
there's a sweet spot for me in the middle there between 3, 4, and 5 where I was like, this is darn good. I really like it. There's mystery and it's interesting and it looks great and it's a blend of MCU stuff that I'm comfortable with, and it's a warm blanket because it's like the real world and I've seen these types of people before but not quite, and I'm getting a bit of blippage explanation, all that sort of stuff. But at the same time, I've got the mystery and the fun and the interest of those weird episodes that Wanda's in. It was a really nice sweet spot. And then the last few episodes, I just got bored. James?
See, I like the last few episodes. And I wondered whether the first two episodes or the first couple of episodes they were trying to be too clever.
Right. Yeah.
You know, like all these types of things, a bit like with like the beekeeper or perception of the beekeeper coming out. We're all like, oh, what's that all about? And everything else like this, and then it all kind of, they bring all the pieces together, and then you're like, oh, okay, now I know all these pieces, and which way is it going to go now? And then all of a sudden, sort of Agatha comes into play. So I preferred. Like I said, it warmed up, and I think I'm probably sweet spotting around where you are, but then I think it didn't drop as much as what you might thought it might have did. I just kind of enjoyed the battle of the finale and all the things that were going on. There's a couple of things I didn't get, but I'll ask those questions later.
There was a moment for me that was a lot like. I think this has been repeated on the internet, but I genuinely thought this myself. This was an original thought, but where Agatha kind of announces that she's Agatha as opposed to Agnes, and she says, "My name is Agatha Harkness," and it's kind of like said for the audience rather than said for Wanda, and it was a Khan moment from Star Trek Into Darkness, where it's like nobody in this situation cares. Like who who are you, who?
Yeah, your casual viewer has no idea who Agatha Harkness is. But
Thank you very much.
I think that was a nod and a wink to the more hardcore fan base, because I knew who Agatha Harkness was, and Nathan, you know who Agatha Harkness is. James,
But
you
that's my
may
point.
not know who Agatha Harkness is, so it didn't land for you. But it landed for me.
I didn't think it landed because it doesn't make sense in the context of the show. It's literally her turning to the audience and winking. So maybe you could argue that it's meta because it's a show inside a show, knowing it's a show, looking at audience about a comic book. But I just felt, hang on a second, Ben. I just felt that it just felt really awkward dialogue. And I know we're being picky. I'm picking on one little bit, but that whole explanation episode, I was a bit like, huh. I was hoping for more. Ben, go on.
So that took place at the end of episode 7,
Right.
which was the episode called Breaking the Fourth Wall.
Yes.
So it's interesting that a meta thing like that would happen in an episode called Breaking the Fourth Wall. It was also taking the spin on like the modern mockumentary, the UK and the US versions of The Office or Parks and Rec or Modern Family, where they're always talking to the camera about what's happening around them. They're giving context and they're spilling out all the plot points to the camera so everyone knows what's going on. So from that point of view, from it being happening in that episode, I kind of think it makes sense. But I do completely see what you're saying, Nathan, about it being a Khan from Star Trek Into Darkness moment. Well, yeah, Wanda has no idea who Agatha Harkness is. Therefore, why does she give a damn that she's called Agatha Harkness? She could be called Steve for all she knows.
That would have been brilliant if
But
she was
what
called
I
Steve.
really, really, really liked was the episode after that, the previously on, which explored then like key moments in Wanda's life, where you saw her sort of possibly using her witch powers when she used a probability hex that stopped the Stark bomb from going off, which kind of makes sense now when you think about it, because Stark tech would always go off, right? Hammer tech was always the stuff that broke, whereas a Stark bomb was always going to explode. So it's interesting that she was always a witch. She just didn't know it. I think there's probably more to that. She's probably a mutant. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
No, I don't think she is. We'll get to that in a second. But I have a point on that. But carry on.
What I do think was a huge missed opportunity on this, and I know that we always considered all the way through, oh my God, like someone massive is going to turn up, like the Fantastic Four is going to turn up, or Doctor Strange is going to turn up. Going back through Wanda's backstory and not bringing back in original brand Pietro Maximoff, Aaron Taylor Johnson, or whatever he's called, as her brother, I thought was a huge missed opportunity. Like when they were being experimented, or she was being experimented on by Hydra in the Hydra
Strucker.
base. By
Baron von Strucker.
yeah.
Yeah.
I just thought, well, why not cut to Aaron Taylor Johnson being involved? You know, they probably just didn't have enough part written for him, or they couldn't be bothered to pay him. Yeah, fine.
Would that cause? Sorry, Nate.
He's a big show now, isn't he? He's lots of money. He's big money.
He's big money. He's big show. He's big time.
Yep.
Oh,
yep.
okay, fine.
Yes, that sort of thing. Okay, fine. Yeah.
I think that's that. All of that leads into kind of what I was thinking about, and I think we didn't help ourselves with the speculation and all the mystery and stuff. And I think, if anything, I'm gonna take a stoic lesson, James, about this, and learn from the failure of it. Like I've learned, I was disappointed in the show because none of the big speculations that we made turned out to be true. So the lesson here is don't be such a dickhead. It's not going to be any of those big things. Just learn that actually, I'm going to sound like I'm really ripping it apart, and I don't mean to, because I did enjoy quite a lot of it, but nothing really happened. The status quo didn't really change that much.
Yeah, one thing happened in the show. Wanda came to terms with her grief about all the loss that she's faced in her life. That's what happened. But there was no cataclysmic. Well, actually, and she leveled up as the Scarlet Witch.
Yeah, and there's a White Vision. James,
yeah,
go on.
And there's White Vision. Yeah.
Well, I kind of disagree with you a little bit, because, well, and that might be because my comic book knowledge is a little bit less than yours. You know, I think there was the introduction of Sword, which I didn't know anything about. I was like,
Yeah,
who's
that's
this?
true,
What's
yeah,
that? There was I quite like the Monica being there.
Yeah, Monica's great.
I want to say Rambo, but it's
Yeah.
not. It's Rambo or something. So
It's
having
pronounced Rambo. Yeah.
It's
and
Rambo,
there's that. I mean, I quite like the Doctor Evil character in Hayward. You know, of that. John Woo was fantastic as well. So I think it gave a little bit of new flavor to me to say, oh, okay, this is quite interesting. You know, I know Agents of Shield. Are they like the long lost cousins of Sword? Not too sure. But
Yeah, you're
that,
right. Yeah.
that was quite cool. And yeah, like I said, it was just too slow in the first couple, and then there was it felt like there was nothing going. It was almost like a little something small had changed, and interactions were peculiar, but you couldn't really. You were kind of having to speculate a little bit, and maybe that's what you were saying. I mean, maybe there was managing your own expectations, Nate. Okay,
Exactly.
this
Exactly
is
right,
a
yeah.
life lesson.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. And I will say that you've highlighted something there that I haven't really mentioned earlier, is that Monica. I thought I really loved Monica as a character. I thought she was fantastic. I think the actress is great. I think it was a really interesting journey she went on. I don't think they fully explained why exactly gets her powers, but who cares? It's Marvel. At the end of the day, we're doing a Marvel rewatch at the minute, and in Iron Man 2, Iron Man creates a brand new element.
Yeah.
So just move on, you know.
Well, I wonder if her powers are in some way linked to the fact that not only did she get pushed through Wanda's hex barrier, but also she was blipped. She was snapped. So I wonder if there was something that now lives within her, because she's been reformed after the snap, that makes her more, I don't know, open to sort of weird cosmic things like that happening. I don't know. Maybe I'm making massive speculations here.
But why her and no one else? You know.
Well, no one else went through the hex like that, did they? Not out and back in and out.
Oh, are you
True,
so?
but people did get trapped and brought in. Go on.
Oh, are we saying that she didn't have the powers beforehand, and she's only got the powers once she went through the hex and all that sort of stuff? Are we deciding on that?
Yeah, it was that last time that she went through, and she sort of got like phased into like 4 different. I think there's also a link with her with Captain Marvel. So she's the little girl in the movie Captain Marvel.
Yes.
So there's something there. Maybe she was exposed to some of Captain Marvel's powers or something. I don't know.
Radiation, yeah. Okay.
I also don't care that much. I'm making a bigger deal of it than I want to, because actually I think she's just great, and I'm glad she's got powers, and I'm glad she'll be in it more, because
Yeah.
she's a really interesting character. And actually perhaps one of my criticisms is that she's not in it enough.
Yeah.
But then it's Wanda's story. That's the whole point about it. Is that, like, there's so much speculation. Will it be Doctor Strange? Will it be the Fantastic Four? Will it be some other hero we already know? Will it be Rocket Raccoon? You know, why isn't Monica in it that much? The reason all of these questions go to bed and go away is because it was Wanda's story.
Yeah,
The whole thing.
she's fundamentally mourning the loss of Vision, and that's her emotion has come out, and actually I think she's realized, well, in my view, she's not realized how powerful she is and what magic she possesses,
Yeah.
and then just thinks everything's hunky dory, and you get lost in that world, don't you?
Yeah.
She's just got lost in this, that everybody's happy, and then the realization once Agnes is in the final episode, like taking the magic off, and they're basically pleading with her to say, "Can you I'm missing putting my baby to bed, or speaking to my husband who's away?" That she's kind of like, "Holy guacamole! I did not know this."
And absolutely. And one thing I will say that is a positive for the show, which I'm very surprised they actually did do, is it's a story about someone having, you know, mental illness, and having, mental health issues. It genuinely is someone suffering from deep loss, which is causing them to have, for lack of a better term, a breakdown.
Yeah.
And I didn't think that. I said this to Becca when we were watching it. I didn't think they were going to be brave enough to do that. I thought it was going to be, she's being controlled by someone else, and even when Agnes then revealed herself as Agatha Harkness, I thought, oh, okay, right, so she's going to have had something to do with this. But they didn't. They properly went, nope, this is just someone who is really having a hard time, who's had nothing but really hard time throughout their entire life. And I
Mhm.
And
thought
she just
that
happens
was
to have like all these incredibly powerful magic that she can't control, that
Yeah.
sort of is exacerbating the whole situation. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good
Okay.
point, actually, Nathan.
Yeah, it is. It is. I just coming back to your other thing about some of the things that you felt were missing. The white vision, like that as well. Really
Yeah.
like that. I was like, what happened, Nate? I saw the episode. I was like, almost like, hey, is there really a white vision? And you're like, yeah, it's in the comic books. I've got it. I was like, all right, okay. What, like, is he like Arnold Schwarzenegger T-1000 type of vision now? You know, like why? And you're like, yeah, he's got no emotion at all. He's just like complete robot. I was like, oh, okay, that's quite cool.
I loved that the way that the battle ended was a battle of the minds, and it was a logic uh, event. I think that fight was actually really fun to watch, more so than the witches blasting each other in the sky.
Yes.
And just then the ship of Theseus, like, philosophical question was just wonderful. It was just, yeah, it really, do you know what I mean? Like, it really sort of like struck a chord, and it was so fitting for those characters, or that character, however you want to say it, don't you think? Like
Yes.
that's how it would end.
Yeah, I agree. I
Mm.
agree.
Ben, you had your hand up.
Yeah, I was going to say, I very much like the fact that, I mean, it's typical Marvel when you think about it, but I like the fact that everyone was speculating before the last episode that, oh, well, there's Vision's actual body, which is now like the white sort of reprogrammed Vision, and then there's the memory of Vision that Wanda has created, and that they will meld at some point in the last episode and the Vision will come back. I like the fact that they teased that, but they don't actually fully deliver on that, because then that can come back in another TV show or another film, another Avengers movie. Somewhere down the line, that will happen and we'll get Vision back, which I am all about, because I love that character. He's fantastic. And I don't think he was ever really used to his full potential in the MCU. This is the best he's ever been. This is the best Paul Bettany has ever been as the character. And I want to see more of that character. So, yeah, they'll bring him back eventually at some point where, I don't know, Wanda will, I don't know, give the piece of the Vision that lives within her, part of the Mind Stone, back to the white Vision that's now got the memories unlocked, and we'll get the actual Vision back in some way. Or we won't. Or we won't. Who knows?
That's it, Ben. Yeah, like there's so many times when we're talking about this that we start to go down rabbit holes of speculation, and they're they're sort of born of two things, born of like, oh, what we know about what exists in the comics, but also the possibilities of the other MCU properties, like and where it might go, and the stuff we know that's being made or already been filmed but not been released, and that sort of stuff, and it sort of makes us go down this, like I said, this rabbit hole, or into a black hole of speculation. But I think really what we need to do, as I said, as James, as you rightly said earlier, is learn life lesson is we're not going to be right ever.
Yeah.
No, but it's bloody good talking about it,
Yeah.
and getting excited about what the possibilities could be, because that's the whole point of a TV show. It's sort of
Yeah.
based on what comics and the knowledge that you have and everything else like that. Like I said, I know nothing about the White Vision, but when I saw it, I was like, holy shit, what's going on? How is the Vision going to battle the Vision?
Yeah.
I mean, is he going to do it with a Vision?
I actually thought that the battle was really well done as well. I couldn't see. I mean, I didn't really look that hard, and I've watched the episode twice, but I couldn't see the lines that much when it was obviously two Visions, two Paul Bettany's on screen. I couldn't really tell that much that it was, like dodgy CGI or anything like that. I thought it looked really good, or it looked fine, and it was passable, more than passable. It was all happening very quickly, but yeah.
I think if we're hanging on that last episode and that battle and that sort of stuff, I think we can't underestimate how good the actress playing Wanda is, who I've forgotten the name of completely.
Elizabeth Olsen.
Yeah, she's fantastic. She's done a great job through this show of conveying all the different eras of housewife in the sitcom, but also on top of that, the layers, the layers of grief and the layers of confusion, and she at points she's us in the show because she doesn't know what's going on. At other points she's the villain. At other points she's the the air quotes hero. She's done a great job.
Yes.
It's just unfortunate that the way that they've dressed up that final battle, Agatha looks like a clown. She just looks over the top, ridiculous, evil. They'd done her makeup like some sort of 1960s witch, or like
It's a Halloween witch. It's
it
like
was a Halloween. Absolutely, it was
It's
too
like
much for me. It was
yeah.
overdone, and so I watching that battle, I was like, okay, this is Doctor Evil. This is it's Halloween. You're absolutely right. But it was still quite clever how she did the runes and what have you, and that sort of thing. That was a clever little twist. That was very Tony
Chekhov
Stark,
smoking
Doctor
runes.
Strange. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was all sort of like, yeah, I thought that was good. I just maybe the more I think about it, the more it's Agnes that bothered me about this show.
Oh, I thought Agnes was great, and I thought Catherine Hahn is wonderful. Did you not like Agnes or Agatha?
I found
Once
her
she revealed
irritating.
herself, yeah. Once she revealed herself, I found her very irritating. I think before she was meant to be irritating, and that was kind of funny. Go on, James.
Yeah, no, you've actually said exactly how I want it, how I said it. I don't know whether it's just the role in the comedies in the 60s, 70s or whatever, but I just found it kind of like really, really irritating. And then she was depicted as a like a Doctor Evil character, caricature of it, because Wanda going down in the basement, and it was like, whoa, look at this.
Yeah,
You don't know. No, I liked. There were times when that dampened down a little bit, and she was just like an evil character, but it just felt like, I don't know. Ben's not agreeing, but Ben, that's fine.
That's okay. That's all right. We don't have to agree. I think you're being overly harsh on her. 'Cause I think it's not her. It's the script, and I think that she did really, really well with what she was given. I think she.
Oh yeah, but I'm not talking about the actress. I'm saying the character. I'm not so keen on the character and the
Okay.
design.
But
Yeah.
I thought it was really well done. I love the fact that she was, it played on her expectations. So when you saw her background as a witch in Salem, Massachusetts, in whenever it was 1760, whatever, 1870, doesn't matter.
16, maybe 16.
Sure. when she's tied to this tree or whatever she was tied to, you think, okay, well, she's going to go on trial now for being a witch, and she's going to say, no, I'm not a witch. And then she's going to come out and she's going to actually end up being a witch, not realizing it. But actually, it's her coven putting her on trial, and I just thought that was superbly well done. The the book that she's stolen is the Darkhold. Is that right? Is that what she called it in the show?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
is that the book that was missing from the book of the library of magic books in Doctor Strange? Is that the books? So she's going to have some ties
Why not?
to that.
It probably
I think
wasn't. It probably wasn't when they wrote Doctor Strange, but let's do it. Let's say
now.
it is. Yeah.
Yeah. Have a missing book and fill in the gaps later.
Yeah.
Practicing the darkest magic. So where are they getting that dark magic from? Is she getting it from Dormammu? Her dark magic is purple, and the guys in Doctor Strange had like the purpley stuff around their eyes. So maybe she's linked into Dormammu in some way. I genuinely thought that it was a well done character, and I especially liked her when she was revealed as who we all knew she was. And I just want to say one last thing. In the episode where the core characters in the show were wearing fancy dress outfits, Vision was wearing his Vision from the comic outfits.
Yep.
Wanda was wearing her Wanda from the comic outfits. You've got fake Pietro, Ralph, or whatever you want to call him, as Quicksilver from the comics. You've got Wiccan and you've got Speed wearing their outfits, and then you've got Agatha Harkness sat in a car wearing a witch's outfit at Halloween, and it's just like, well, there you go. That's definitely who she is. Then I'm looking at that, I'm thinking, well, it's got to be Agnes. Has got to be Agatha Harkness. It's got to be, and lo and behold, it was. Nathan, sorry, you've had your hand up for about an hour.
No, it's fine. It's just it was on the magic thing that you're talking about, and I'm going to bring back an old school thing for a bit of a retro thing from this podcast. I don't like the look of magic in MCU. In fact, I don't like the look of any of the Infinity Stones power. I don't like the aesthetic of any of the cosmic stuff. I want fucking knife lasers. And I don't want this weird glowy nonsense, which is just this fluffy nothing around it. Like I said, we're doing a rewatch at the minute, and Captain Marvel, I enjoyed it much more this time than the first time, but I still think I really hate the look of when she goes Super Saiyan and she's all glowy, right? I really hate. It's so nothing. It feels like After Effects auto generate power mode, and I think that Wanda looks like that too, and I really didn't like it. She's just glowy ball throwing glowy thing at each other.
I love glowy balls. I'm not gonna lie to you. I mean, if I see knife lasers, I might like them, but I love glowy balls. I just love the sort of it's like dodgeball.
But Vision's got knife lasers out of his head.
Has. Yes, he
I
has.
like
he
that.
does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. It's a valid point. He has got knife lasers.
It's like After Effects colored fire effect times 10. I just something about it just looks cheap. And how can these shows look cheap? They're made by Disney, like the corporation, the thing that owns everything. Anyway, high horse about one small thing, but
that's okay, mate. I'll take it on board,
One
and I'll
thing?
have a chat with Disney, and
yeah. Chat with Kev.
I can probably sort out getting some knife lasers into the Eagle and the Autumnal Soldier. All right,
Okay.
leave it with me, and I will make that happen for you.
Cheers. Yeah.
We've talked about quite a few of the characters. Should we talk about some of the other ones that turned up in it? What about Jimmy Woo and Darcy Lewis? I thought they were fantastic
really
little double act in the show. I thought they were great, really good.
But I think Monica as well. I think when the three of them are bouncing off each other, that was very good. And I think that's got shades of MCU Phase 1. And I say that because I'm doing the rewatch at the minute, and it's got a feel of that sort of quippy Iron Man-y type stuff.
I absolutely love the fact that when you first see Jimmy Woo on camera, he walks up towards Monica and does a card trick that he learned from Scott Lang in Ant-Man and the Wasp. I caught that straight away and I paused it and said how great that was. And my wife and daughter looked at me and went, what? And I explained that was the card trick that he was trying to learn at the end of Ant-Man and the Wasp. And they were like, oh, yeah, of course. Brilliant. So, yeah, I love that. Go on, James. What are you going to say?
No, I think that's great because you noticed that. I didn't notice that at all. So maybe sometimes there's too many I think it was filled with probably too many. I don't know if I've said it already. Too many Easter eggs. Sometimes I just want to be told, Jimmy Woo could have gone, I learned this from an MCU character.
Especially in this show, it's breaking
Yeah,
the
that's
fourth
right.
wall. Yeah.
No, I mean, it's nice to have those type of things, but I think it was all that for me. That all felt a little bit too much crammed in. Like it was almost like every opportunity. Because I'd be like, Ben, what does that mean? Nate, what does that mean? But maybe I should just know more. Maybe that's what it is.
Know what you know, and that's fine, James. Know what you know. I think it's a nice touch to the fact that yes, this is its own thing, but it's happening within the bigger universe, and everything it links into itself, and everyone knows everyone in some way or another. Everyone is once removed from everyone else, and I love that. Absolutely love it.
See, I only sometimes love that, and other times for me it's the Skywalkers. No, it's other times it's like, well, you're only super powerful if you're related to Anakin, and otherwise you can't have any force powers. Like, wait, what about all the other thousands of Jedi there were? But no, everything has to be a Skywalker, and I think that's for me a little bit of this, like, how many FBI agents really are there in the MCU, and yet we still get Jimmy Woo coming back, which is a dumb complaint because I love seeing him on screen. But there's just a little bit of like, come on.
You're so miserable and old.
Yeah.
There are still mysteries in the show and things that aren't explained, which I love. I love the fact that Jimmy Woo went to that town looking for an informant, and we never found out who that was, ever.
Is it theoretically Ralph?
Possibly, could be Ralph. Jimmy Woo has a conversation in the last episode where he's on the phone to Clint, and he wants Clint to be there within the hour, and then you don't see anything about that. That I do believe must be setting up that possibly Jimmy Woo is going to be in the Hawkeye TV show when it comes on, maybe later in the year.
Yeah.
So, who knows? But I like the fact that the show was a mystery, and it resolved pretty much 99% of all the plot threads, but left a couple of things dangling, which is very MCU. I like that.
I'll agree with you on that, Ben. That's spot on.
Thank you. Let me talk to you about Hayward, the acting director of Sword. What did that guy do to get arrested? Because I have got no idea. If you can tell me right now what he did that was so bad to get arrested. Okay, yes, he fabricated some evidence about saying that Wanda had stolen Vision and actually she hadn't stolen Vision. Okay, you've both got your hand up. One at a time, please.
So he shot a gun at some children and at Monica.
Yes, that's what I was going to say.
Okay, fine. Yeah.
Shot bullets. He didn't shoot a gun. That was
and
ridiculous.
he also created the white Vision, and
it's
I don't
true,
think he wanted to create have a powerful weapon, didn't he?
But you could argue that he was doing both of those things to free an entire town that was mind controlled by a perceived major threat to humanity.
So I was taking that when Wanda went to Sword headquarters and saw Hayward, he was basically playing her and making her angry to see what she would do, because he probably knew that she had the power to re-energize a multiple piece. Yeah, synth. What is it? Synthezoid. Yeah, one of them things. That's what I thought.
I would take the question one step further, Ben. Why was Hayward arrested, and why wasn't Wanda at least even questioned about the horrific things she did? It was just like, you've released everyone now. Great, cheers, cool.
It's because
Like,
everyone was shitting their pants that she
yeah,
would
I
do
know
it
they were.
again.
I know. But at that point, you call in the Avengers, and they all surround her, and they go, "Wanda, maybe need to chat about something you did here because you kind of imprisoned a town for a week, and those people weren't very happy, and you enslaved them and controlled their minds, and you really upset everyone."
Yeah,
James.
but the Avengers are all to shit because it's like 3 weeks after Endgame, so they're all over the shop.
True,
Yeah,
true.
they're probably mourning themselves. There is no leader because Cap is did he? He's just an old man, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a billion years
Yeah,
old. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Well, we'll
Iron
find
Man.
out where two Avengers are next
Next
week
week.
when we get the first
Yes.
episode of the Eagle and the autumnal foot
Soldier.
soldier. Yes, thank you.
We need a shortened version of that. Yeah,
VAS.
I'll let you
EAT.
work on that. I'll
Hang on.
let you guys spitball that.
Eagle and the is eat. Autumnal soldier as. It's eat as.
Can't wait for it as.
We've done it, haven't we? We've done it. Great.
Great work.
Um,
mate.
so what about the reveal that Quicksilver,
Yeah.
Fox Marvel Universe Quicksilver actually isn't from a different universe, or he is. He's actually just Ralph.
I wanted to
could
talk about this
be-
as well. Yeah, I
yeah.
was going to raise it. It's just because the show is designed to be meta. It's literally an in joke.
Yeah.
It's a bit fucking dumb, isn't it?
Wash your mouth out, Nathan.
Yeah,
Goodness
I know. Yeah, it's late and I'm tired. So my willpower is gone. I have no control over what my thoughts and feelings are. I'm just telling you straight. I'm telling the audience straight. I'm telling everyone how it is.
Wow.
And I just think it was just a bit. It's Chekhov's loaded gun, but then they didn't fire the damn thing.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. I'll go with that.
Yeah, it's just all the while. Here's a pistol. Here's a bullet. I shall load it. And then every episode, just looking over, going, "Oh, there's a loaded pistol over there. Someone might get hurt if that goes off. What? Better not touch that pistol. You might get hurt." And then the show just ends.
Yeah, and you
And
find out that the pistol was actually loaded with a blank.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just, yeah.
I don't know. I think there's probably more. I think there's potentially more to it. So, like you said, Nate, Ralph could be Jimmy Woo's missing person or FBI informant. He could actually be going by the name of someone else. He could have found himself in the Marvel Cinematic Universe after falling out of the Devil's Anus wormhole or something like that through the multiverse and ending up in our Earth or the MCU Earth as Quicksilver. Going, well, what? I don't recognize any of this. What's going on here? I'll go into FBI protection or what have you. I don't know. Who knows? They can do anything, can't they?
Yeah, but they won't. Again, going back to the lesson. The lesson is when they
Temper your
do the mutants.
expectations.
Yeah, when they do the mutants and when they do X-Men or whatever it is, because we know they're going to do something, and speculation at the minute is that the film's going to be called The Mutants. It'll just be starting from scratch. It'll just be some event happens, some new mutant is born, and it'll be like 10 mutants in the world. They won't do a multiverse crossover. I think the Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness and whatever Spider-Man 3 multiverse stuff we have, it's not going to be universe resetting. I just don't believe it is. It's just going to be an adventure in the multiverse, and then at the end of it, we're like, "Whew, wasn't that fun? Thank God we're back in our universe."
Maybe, yeah, maybe. Okay. What about Billy and Tommy? What about the kids? What about the babies that then suddenly aged up, that then aged up again? What do we think of them? Do we think that they are still alive, and do we think that they are coming back as young Avengers at some point?
Yes.
Okay. So the after credit scene talked about them still being alive, because whilst Wanda was on the astral plane reading the Darkhold and making herself a cup of tea physically while she was on the astral plane reading that magic book, she heard them calling out to her in some way. Yeah, go on, Nathan.
Well, I feel like that, speculation rampant and just undermine what I just said, but I feel like they are actually setting up a young Avengers or something like that. They've got Ms. Marvel. Is it Miss Marvel?
Yeah,
Miss
Yes.
Marvel.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, they got Miss Marvel coming. They're filming that right now. You've got Hawkeye, and that's got Kate Bishop in it. So that's the young Hawkeye. You've got two characters here who are very, very easily have already been shown to age up quickly, and you could quite easily make them teenagers quite quickly. You've got other characters that I can't now bring to mind, but
Well, you can have the mutants. It could be the younger versions of themselves, couldn't it?
yeah, absolutely. So I think it's a play to be a point where these characters have come back in, and the Young Avengers comic, interestingly, most of the Young Avengers are actually literally young versions of them. So the leader is a character called Patriot, who is basically Captain America, and there's Iron Lad, and there's Hulkling, and there's Wiccan, who's Doctor Strange, and the Speed, who's Quicksilver. You know, there's a roster of Avengers that
Aren't we
aren't
going to
brand
get Riri Williams as well as
exactly
Ironheart?
exactly.
Yeah.
So there's a roster of Avengers that aren't brand new characters. They're kind of like mini me versions of other characters. So it feels like that's kind of where they're going to go with it.
Yeah.
I don't know, James. Do you what do you think? Do you think that those kids will come back, or do you think wild speculation we're doing right now, which I've already said is ridiculous?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's I don't know, and I quite liked how how WandaVision ended with that scene. She seems to be she's becoming all powerful and everything else like that. There was, hang on, I'm just remembering something. What's Doctor Strange otherwise known as?
Sorcerer Supreme.
That's the dude, right? Because doesn't Agatha mention about him?
Yeah.
And I was like, do you know the only reason I know that? Because I'm watching Ultimate Spider-Man with Lois, and it was mentioned. All right, I was like, I know
Brilliant.
that, bloody well know that. And actually, I watched the episode I watched recently with Doctor Strange, wasn't it? And they went into another multiverse, and they're battling a nightmare thing. Yeah. It was good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I
reckon.
love that you're getting your education like late in life.
Well, I think this nightmare thing is going to be in the new Doctor Strange movie. Just putting it out there. All right.
Yeah, I think there is a character called Nightmare. I think he's
Yeah.
one of the like the Dormammu type, devilly type.
Yeah, he'll be there.
Interesting. But Ben, what do you think then? Do you think they'll be back, or do you think that's just a tease for nothing?
Yeah, I think they will be back because we didn't see them disappear. We saw Vision disappear. We didn't see them disappear. So if we don't see them dead, they ain't dead.
That's a good point, actually, Ben. Really, really good point.
Thank you, James. It's not my first time.
No, I'm not going to go into that. I'm just going to stop.
So I know we've got the commercials as something to talk about here. I'm not that fussed about them. We can talk about them, but I have a big question that might be an ending. Is Wanda now an MCU villain?
I asked Grace this in the little chat that we have, which I'm going to put in a minute. I think that she has the potential to be a villain, as she was. And let's not forget that it was through Wanda's actions that the Sokovia Accords were really ramped up and pushed through because of her actions in Lagos when she accidentally blew up the Wakandan outreach center or whatever it was, killing all those people. So I think and she started off on Ultron's side and on Hydra's side. Yeah. So I think there's potential that they can lean her back that way. And like you said, she's had absolutely zero consequences leveled at her for taking over and mind controlling a whole town for a week, 2 weeks, whatever it was. So I think that if someone comes at her and tries to make her pay for that, I mean, she's so powerful to be able to do what she did. She's not just going to go and sit in a prison cell. She's tried that before, and she didn't like being locked in her room. So yeah, I think if she's pushed, she can go far.
Well, it's interesting that her accent started coming back, and that
Yeah.
existed when she was a villain, before.
Yeah.
And also, you made a really great point there, Ben, about that she's so powerful. It's the Superman syndrome. So in Superman, you have to come up with a scenario where you can't have your biggest gun on the playing field. Like you have to either kill him off, or you have to kryptonite him, or he has to be off planet saving somewhere else. Because if he was there, he'd just wipe out whatever it is that's concerning you at that moment. What Justice League, Hawkeye in MCU is going up against some supervillain and he's run out of arrows. I mean, he is buggered, but you get Wanda in. She's just like snap her fingers like Thanos, and it's over, right?
Well,
So
it's like Professor X in the X-Men films.
Yeah,
They've always
yeah.
got to take him out of the game. Otherwise, you can just go right. Everyone's frozen. Everyone's now mind wiped. Everything's
Yeah.
back to normal. Go.
So that creates some interesting storylines because you have to be quite clever to write around it.
Mm-hmm.
But it is also sort of suggests that maybe she'll be the big bad that we'll be fighting up against. Maybe she is the Thanos of the next 10 years.
I don't know if I agree. I genuinely don't know if I agree. I think that what's happened in this show has given her a reason to come to terms with her grief and her guilt, her survivor's guilt. And I think that I don't think they'll villain her the way they did Thanos. Or even though they did such a great job with Thanos, because he was a villain. Yeah, he was an understandable villain because he was trying to help the whole universe. Endgame, I think, sort of diluted that a little bit because it turned him back to be quite a brutish sort of thug.
But by design, so that we could hate him and he could be defeated.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
I don't think they'll do that with Wanda. I genuinely don't. I mean, again, they can do whatever they want. Maybe she is going to be the big villain in the next 10 years, and certainly in Doctor Strange 2. Who knows? But I think it would be too easy for them to do that. I think it would be too easy. I think that if she struggles to come to terms with her powers, she can always go back to Agatha. She can always sort of zap her out of what she's got her sort of believing she's living in, and get a bit more magical training, because she knows she's got a hundreds-year-old witch there who has an awful lot of skills that she just doesn't possess because she hasn't had the training that she's had or the experiences that she's had. So I think that Agatha will come back into it at some point eventually and will help Wanda. I don't think they'll paint Wanda to be the next 10-year big bad villain. I just don't think that's the way they'll go.
James, do you have thoughts?
The other way, I mean, Ben, because you've said something really, really good, I'm just gonna toss it over the other way. Maybe Wanda does become bad, and they have to get Agatha to try and defeat her.
And then she's a relatable bad guy, isn't she?
Yeah, I mean, it's a really difficult one because Wanda's sort of story that I know is very up and down, like you said, with Ultron, then kind of comes good again. I'm with the Vision. The Vision's almost like my holding. He's the person that's looking after me and keeping me on the straight and narrow. Without him there, I'm going to become, I don't want to say a drug addict or something like that, but I have said it. So, sort of like, I'm not going to be able to control it. She's testing out her powers. Well, why? Hang on a minute. Why are you challenging me? The only reason that she stopped doing what she was doing was because Agatha made her aware of the power she had and the torture that she was putting through the residents of Westview. Without that, she just thought everything was hunky-dory. Ben?
You're right. She actually thought, sorry, I'd better welcome to you, but you're absolutely right, James. She thought that they were happy with what she was doing to them.
Yeah, because she even says that. Well, they're safe. They're in a really good place. But actually, their mind is still awake, and they couldn't control their body, and they were just going through whatever she wanted them to do.
She was deluded, really. Yeah.
And like the Halloween special where Vision goes to the outskirts of town, and there are people just kind of not. What was it? There was like just repeating the same thing, like putting on
put something on
or something
on the line,
whilst crying. Yeah, devastating.
So it was absolute devo.
Yeah, really good. Yeah. Anyway, Ben, sorry, you had your hand up.
Well, I was just going to say two things really. Number one, why would Wanda can do whatever she wants anytime she wants because of the power that she holds. So I don't think that she would be forced into. She knows what doing what she did, taking over that town and mind controlling those people, how bad that was. I don't think she would do that again because she is inherently a good person. She's not an evil person. She's she is chaotically good, I think.
But
Anyway,
that's
I've also
it's sorry,
go on.
go on.
No, go on. No,
Well, it's the Obi-Wan Kenobi certain point of view. Like she is inherently good according to her point of view, and that's what makes the best villains the best villains. But like Thanos, you genuinely at some point you go, oh, I think he might be right, you know.
He's got a good point.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. And so maybe that does make her a bad a villain, but not a bad person. It's a moral quandary. It's a moral philosophical question about what makes someone good, someone bad, and the fact that they've made her into this person who, as James so perfectly remembered, which I forgot, was deluded, did think that she was doing good, even though she was clearly doing horrific things.
Well, we don't know that she's doing horrific things. It's through the episodes you have these breaks of people not looking happy, and was it the second episode where it's the radio and they're trying to get hold of Wanda, and then like the glass breaks and there's something peculiar has happened based on what we've already watched. So yeah, she was just thinking that she had made the Garden of Eden or something like this, just kind of like everyone. Why wouldn't you be happy? You've got 100%. You're safe. You're going through like the monotony of life. You're not really living, are you? You're just going through like, I'm gonna have breakfast now. Now I'm gonna have lunch. Type of, oh, I'm the delivery boy. I'll just do that all the time. I don't.
It actually gets to some quite deep philosophical questions about what it is to be happy, to live a life, fully. It's about there's some question about pain defining our pleasure, and choosing our struggles to ensure that we can have light and shade and that sort of stuff. And let's bring it full circle back to nerdy stuff. It's Star Trek 5, where Spock's half brother takes away people's pain, and Kirk says, I don't want you to do that. I need my pain. It makes me who I am.
Yes.
And that's what's happening here. She's thinking that I've made this idyllic world for you, but actually the idyllic world is where you stub your toe, and where you get really hungry, and where you have a hangover, and where you shout at people and go, I'm really sorry, I didn't mean to do that, and you cry about things, and you fart loudly and laugh about
I was gonna say the fart, or you do a fart in the bed just before your wife or girlfriend gets in, and you just talk to yourself and go shh.
And yeah, exactly. But Wanda wouldn't make those worlds, would she? Those things wouldn't exist in her world. For her, it would just be the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s sitcoms where you don't ever see any of those events. You only ever see the Instagram.
Yes.
Yeah. You see it through the filter of happiness, don't you?
Yeah.
Okay, I've just had a thought, by the way, about mutants.
Go for it.
What if mutants are every single person on Earth who was blipped but then was brought back? What if they all come back and they're all actually mutants?
That's real nice. I like that a lot.
Which could explain one of the reasons.
Bits.
Could explain one of the reasons why Monica Rambeau, through what she went through, going back through the hex barrier, then developed the powers that she's developed as Photon or whatever she's called. Spectrum.
So everyone that's blipped now has the potential to gain powers, but something has to be triggered to make it happen, like the X gene
or the Terrigen Mist. Maybe they're going to combine Inhumans and X-Men or something like that. Who knows?
Yeah, I really like that, Ben.
Go on, JB.
I'm just going to say it because I feel like we're getting close to wrapping up, but we've not mentioned about the scroll at all.
At the end.
At the end,
Yeah.
yeah. The after
we
credit
haven't
things, yeah.
we haven't mentioned that, and I thought that was quite an important bit because is Fury up there? Because I
Yeah.
think Fury is up there.
So at the end of Spider-Man: Far From Home, we
Yes.
get the reveal that Fury and Maria Hill were actually the two Skrulls from Captain Marvel,
Yes.
and Fury is in space. So it kind of starts to make, for me, it starts to make me question what actually is Sword. So Hayward was running one small part of Sword, and I think Sword is now Nick Fury's baby, so he's kind of like leveled up from Shield.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what that was for me. That was the Skrull person saying, "You're a part of Sword. Well, now you're properly a part of Sword."
Okay.
That's
Fine.
how
Okay.
that's how I read it.
Yeah, the
All
real
right, okay.
Sword, which is actually based up in space, not this on Earth malarkey. Yeah.
Like Excalibur, like that kind of sword.
Nice.
Of course, the other theory could be that while she thinks she's going up to see Nick Fury, the Skrull said an old friend of your mother's. So whilst we know that Maria Rambeau was friends with Nick Fury, could also be Carol Danvers.
Could be. Yeah, it could
Could be
be
Captain
Captain
Marvel.
Marvel too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And was that Skrull at the end the little girl that plays with Monica on the stairs at the end of Captain Marvel?
Could be.
Oh,
Could
Nate,
be.
look at
That
you,
little Skrull all
love.
grown up.
Yeah.
God, I tell you what,
I watched it like last week, so that's why.
I
Well
tell you what, Nathan,
well
you
remembered.
might look silly, mate, but you've got a brain on you, haven't you, eh?
He really has. He really has.
Not
when he
just a
wants
hat
to,
rack.
when he wants to use it, he can be Ben. When he wants to use it.
Yeah,
Right.
definitely,
Yeah.
definitely.
And well, there's also the we had the announcement a while back at the Marvel event that there's going to be a Secret Invasion TV show, which is going to be Nick Fury and the lead Skrull, whose name I completely forget.
Alos,
Talos, thank you. Yeah, so it's
Ben
going to be
Mendelsohn.
their show, and I think there might be something interesting in I think one of the best things about Captain Marvel was the twist where the Skrulls turned out to be good guys, because in the comic books, Skrulls are inherently bad. There's probably 3 that are good, but generally speaking, they're an evil race of beings. So I really loved that twist in Captain Marvel. So when they announced Secret Invasion, I was very confused, because Secret Invasion is about where these evil characters, who in the comics we've always known to be evil, secretly infiltrate the humans. And so how do you then do that when you've set up those characters as good guys? So I think it might be quite interesting if there's like evil sects of Skrulls, if we start to see a little bit of like light and shade in Skrull culture, and it's not just they're all good guys. I don't know. Yeah, I think that's something also tied into the Skrull pointing to the sky, and Monica being involved.
Yeah, absolutely. That would be very good. That would be very good. It could be that Secret Invasion is the sort of TV event that brings all these TV shows together. So you could have Wanda coming back. You could have the Autumnal Soldier with Condor Man, or whatever we've called him, Eagle. Yes. That could all sort of tie in to be like the TV event, like of an MCU sort of TV universe. I don't know. It might not be, but yeah. Could be fun. It'll be fun.
I think we might have talked about this now. I think we
I
might
think
have.
we have.
Yeah, I think we've talked about it. So Ben, where can people get hold of us if they want to tell us what they think about our stupid theories that we've been talking about?
Whoa, 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 whoa. Pump the brakes there, Nathan. Do we not want to say what we thought, give it a score, that sort of thing, before we get into the outro of this podcast?
I'll allow it.
Okay. James, what did you think out of 5 you would review this TV show? Oh, James, we can't hear you. You're on mute, mate. Oh, look at that. Oh, and I'm not cutting that out either.
Oh, I thought to myself, I need to turn the dishwasher off because I didn't want it to make a noise because I'm in the kitchen. And then I thought I better take myself off mute. Anyway, I'm going to probably give it 3.5 knife lasers out of 5 knife lasers.
Very good. Very good. Yeah. Well, I'll go 7 out of 10. I'll go 7 out of 10. Yeah. I think it was a better MCU offering without being out of this world. But there you go. Nathan.
I just want to fully ratify James's scoring there. I think it was a truly superb use of knife lasers, and yeah, I'm fully behind it. What would I score it? I would score it. It was totally fine, but I got a bit bored.
Excellent. That's a good score. I am
Good
now
one.
going to insert the conversation I had with my daughter about WandaVision here.
Cool.
Oh, hi, Grace. How are you?
Good.
So we're here to talk about WandaVision. So where would you say that WandaVision sits in the Marvel Cinematic Universe? Do you think it's as good as, better than, not as good as? What do you think?
As good as?
As good as? Yeah, okay. What did you think was good about WandaVision? We're in spoilers, so you can talk spoilers here. So did you like how the episodes sort of move through time? Did you like how the characters interacted with each other? Did you like?
I liked how it moved through time.
Yeah,
I thought that was
pretty
that
good.
was
wasn't it?
interesting.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it? What did you think about the first episode? Can you remember all the way back to the first episode?
Yeah.
Because I will tell you the truth, and I've said it on this podcast already, I thought the first episode was really, really odd until the change happened at the end when the people who came to have dinner with Wanda and Vision started to sort of short circuit and go wrong. When you look at that back now in hindsight, that woman shouting, "Stop it, stop it, stop it," whilst looking at Wanda, she's actually asking Wanda to stop controlling her, right? So that was...
To make him stop joking.
That's right. Well, make him stop choking and to make get Wanda out of her head to stop controlling her because, you know, that was all set up, wasn't it? It was fake. So, okay, so you liked how it moved through time. What about how Wanda sort of leveled up towards the end? Do you think she's going to become a really powerful villain maybe in the MCU?
Well, I mean, at the moment, like Agatha said, she's more powerful than the Sorcerer Supreme, and we know that is Doctor Strange.
We do, yeah.
But we also know that she says to Monica that she doesn't know how to control this power yet.
That's right.
And she doesn't know what it is, really.
So she could accidentally do something like she's done before in Wakanda, or not in Wakanda, beg your pardon, it was in Lagos, wasn't it? But it was to the Wakandan embassy that happened in the Civil War that started all the events, and that started off it really drove through the Sokovia Accords. Yeah, okay, that's a very interesting point, yeah. So she could become... Well, she is now more powerful than she realises and knows how to control it, even though she says that she will learn to control those powers. Yeah.
But then at the end there, we see her reading the Darkhold.
Yes.
Because like Agatha said, there's a whole chapter on her in the Darkhold.
You see, the problem is reading that book, that book of like evil magic, it's probably not the best way to learn how to control magic when you think about all the books that Doctor Strange and his fellow sorcerers have. She could probably expand her reading material a little bit there, couldn't she?
Yeah.
Okay. So what about things that you thought were bad? Was there anything you thought was bad on the show?
No.
No? You just liked the whole thing? Okay, if you had to rate WandaVision out of 5 or out of 10, so either 10 being great and 1 being the worst, or 5 being great and 1 being the worst, what would you give it?
I don't know.
Okay. What about the way it was watched now, or the way it was released, I beg your pardon. So you like to binge watch TV programs. You like to binge watch.
I didn't like it having to wait. I didn't like having to wait every week. I didn't like that.
However, think of the enjoyment you got out of waiting week to week. Look at all the YouTube videos you would watch with me, and then you would go and research on your own about WandaVision, about all the Easter eggs in the episodes and Mr. Sunday Movies and him talking about it.
Yeah.
Would you have taken the time to stop and do that if it had all just been dumped online at once?
No.
No. So I think there's something valuable in having an episodic TV show like WandaVision that comes out week to week. And that's what we're going to be getting soon with Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Yep.
You looking forward to that?
Yes.
Excellent. So when do you think we're going to see Wanda next? Wanda Maximoff?
Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness.
Excellent. And that's coming, I think, maybe next year or probably the year out. Maybe next year.
Yeah, it's next year. I've watched trailers and things.
You've watched trailers? There hasn't been a trailer yet.
Like, when they said about, like, the Phase 4.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right, fine. Very good. Okay. Well, thanks for talking, Grace. This was great. Did you enjoy this?
Yeah.
Excellent. Maybe we'll do it again for Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Okay.
Thanks for tuning in, Grace. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, well, I hope you both enjoyed that because I know you'll listen later. Right, so I should probably end the podcast now, Nathan, and tell people where they can find us and where they can tell us what they thought about WandaVision and what they think is coming next in the MCU.
Before you do that, Ben,
Oh
can I just check with you? Is it twitter.com/nerdschatting and facebook.com/nerdschatting and youtube.com/nerdschatting and podbean.com/nerdschatting and
No,
just type nerdschatting.
No, it's nerdschatting.podbean.com.
Yeah, I should know that. I set that one up. But generally, if you just go to Google and type in Nerds Chatting, is it that it? Like one word, Nerds Chatting, and you'll find us?
Nerds Chatting, you'll find us. Or type it into your podcast app of choice and you should find us. And if you don't, let us know and we'll try and get on there. But yeah, we're on Spotify and we're on Apple Podcasts and we're on Google Podcasts and all the other podcasts. So yeah. Give us a review. We'd love a review. Tell a friend about us.
And a recommendation, definitely tell someone. Tell someone about this amazing dude called Ben, who has these fantastic theories, who just gets ragged on constantly by these two other idiots. That's what you should tell them. Yeah.
Oh, fine.
Don't worry. I do. Right.
Good. So I think we'll probably take next week off because I like to sleep sometimes. And then the week after that, we'll come back with some other interesting stuff. We probably by then had things like Justice League come out.
Yeah, Snyder Cut.
I think
Maybe
we will.
King Kong versus Godzilla.
Oh no.
Giant lizard versus giant monkey 4. This time they're really mad.
I'm pretty sure it's Justice League we're going to be reviewing next. But if it's something else, then it'll be something else.
Good.
Excellent. I can't wait. Thanks for tuning in, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
'Cause we got